Hey friends, it's Tony here. January 13th, I want you to circle that date, highlight it, put a big red star on your calendar because something is about to happen that's going to expose exactly how much they've been shortchanging your Social Security benefits. And honestly, when you see these numbers side by side, when you actually compare what you're getting versus what you're spending, you're going to be just as frustrated and angry as I am right now. I'm talking about the final inflation report for 2025. And it's about to reveal the uncomfortable truth about that tiny 2.8% cost of living adjustment you got this year. The one that all the politicians and talking heads acted like was some kind of generous gift, the one they patted themselves on the back for giving you. Spoiler alert, it wasn't generous. It wasn't even close to adequate. And I'm going to show you the receipts. I'm going to break down the numbers. I'm going to show you the math. And I'm going to prove to you exactly how far behind you're falling. So let me give you a little background on why I'm so passionate about this issue and why I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you today. I've been helping low-income families navigate government benefits for over a decade now. This isn't some theoretical exercise for me. This is my life's work. I've sat across the table from single moms trying to figure out how to feed 3 kids on $800 a month in food stamps. I've helped disabled veterans, men and women, who served this country honorably, trying to understand their benefit statements and figure out why their checks don't cover their bills. I've watched too many seniors, people who worked their entire lives and paid into the system for 40 or 50 years, having to choose between buying their heart medication or putting food on the table, between paying the electric bills or buying groceries, between heating their homes or filling their prescriptions. And you know what I've watched for the years? I've watched the same heartbreaking pattern repeat itself over and over and over again. Every October, they announce a cost of living adjustment. Everyone celebrates for about 5 seconds. The news does a little story about it. Your friends and family say, "Oh, that's nice, you're getting a raise." And then January rolls around, you start getting your new checks, and within a month or two, you realize something's wrong. Your grocery bill went up more than your Social Security check did. Your rent increased by more than you got in your raise. Your utility bills are higher. Your out-of-pocket medical costs are climbing. And suddenly that generous cost of living adjustment doesn't feel so generous anymore, does it? That's not okay. That's not how it should work. And that's exactly why I'm breaking this down for you today in painful, explicit detail. Here's what we're covering in this video, and I need you to stick with me because every single part of this matters. First, I'm going to explain exactly what's happening on January 13th and why this particular date matters so much for your financial future. Then we're going to look at the real inflation numbers, the actual data versus what they're giving you in your Social Security check, and you're going to see a gap that's going to shock you. I'm going to show you how they calculate this cost of living adjustment using outdated old information that honestly makes absolutely no sense in today's economy. And finally, I'm going to give you the concrete action steps you need to take right now to protect yourself financially because nobody else is going to do it for you. Not the government, not the politicians, not the Social Security Administration. You're on your own, and I'm going to help you navigate this. Let's get into it. All right, so here's what's going down on January 13th, and I need your full attention on this. This is the date when we're getting the final inflation data point for 2025. Specifically, we're getting December's CPI report. That's the Consumer Price Index, which is the government's official measure of inflation. It's what they use to track how much prices are going up across the economy. Now, why does this specific report matter so much? Because this December report is going to show us once and for all how much inflation actually happened during the entire year of 2025. We'll have the complete picture. And when we compare that real inflation number to the pathetic, inadequate 2.8% cost of living adjustment that Social Security recipients got this year, we're going to see exactly, precisely how far behind you're falling. The gap is going to be undeniable. Let me be crystal clear about something. And I want to make sure you understand the full scope of this problem. Over the last several months, we've been watching inflation climb higher and higher. Every month, prices go up. Every month, your dollars buy less. And you know what? It's not over yet. Not even close. We're going to see a whole lot more inflation throughout 2026. I wish I had better news for you, but I'm not going to lie to you. The economic pressures are still there. The supply chain issues are still there. The policy decisions that drive inflation are still being made. But this December report, the one coming out on January 13th, is going to give us the complete picture of what happened in 2025. And it's going to expose in black and white numbers that nobody can argue with the gap between what you actually needed to maintain your standard of living and what you actually got from Social Security. Let me break down exactly who we're talking about here, because this impacts millions upon millions of Americans. If you're a senior on Social Security retirement benefits, this affects you directly. If you're disabled and receiving SSDI or SSI benefits, this affects you. If you're a surviving spouse or a surviving parent receiving survivor benefits from Social Security, this affects you. If you're a veteran collecting Social Security benefits along with your VA benefits, this affects you. If you're receiving any kind of Social Security payment, you need to pay attention to what I'm telling you right now. We're talking about roughly 72 million Americans who got that 2.8% increase at the beginning of this year, and were told to be grateful for it. 72 million people. Think about that number. That's almost 1 out of every 5 Americans. And every single one of them was told, here's your raise. Aren't we generous? Aren't we taking care of you? Meanwhile, what's the reality you're actually living? Your rent went up 10%. Your groceries went up 8% or more. Your utilities went up. Your car insurance went up. Your homeowner's insurance went up. Your Medicare Part B premium went up, eating into that raise before you even saw it. Your prescription drug costs went up. Every single expense in your life increased by more than 2.8%. But that's all you got. I think about the single moms I work with who became disabled, maybe from an accident or an illness, and they're trying to raise kids on a fixed income that doesn't increase enough to keep up with costs. I think about the 70-year-old grandmother who worked for 40 years, paid into Social Security every single paycheck, did everything she was supposed to do, and now she's trying to survive on $1,400 a month in one of the richest countries in the world. I think about the disabled veteran dealing with service-connected injuries, someone who literally put their body on the line for this country, and now they're watching every single dollar, trying to make impossible choices about what bills to pay. You all deserve so much better than this. You deserve a system that actually works. You deserve a cost of living adjustment that actually reflects the cost of living. Here's where it gets really, really frustrating, and I need you to pay close attention to these numbers because they tell the whole story. That 2.8% cost of living adjustment for 2026 might sound okay at first. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like something. But it only sounds okay until you look at what real inflation actually is. And I'm not just talking about the official government numbers that they publish, which are often manipulated and understated. I'm talking about what you're actually experiencing in your real life when you go to the grocery store, when you pay your bills, when you try to live your life day to day. Real inflation, when you look at the actual statistics and what prices are doing in the real world where real people live, is running somewhere between 5% and 8%, depending on what you're buying and where you live. Let that sink in for a minute. You're getting a 2.8% raise while your costs are going up 5% to 8%. You're not breaking even. You're not treading water. You're not maintaining your standard of living. You're falling further behind every single month, every single year. And here's the thing that really gets me, the thing that makes me so angry I can barely contain it. They calculated that 2.8% cost of living adjustment using inflation data from July, August, and September of 2024. That's right, third quarter of the previous year. They're using information that's over a year old by the time you actually get your increased check to decide how much money you need to survive today in 2026. Does that make any sense to you? Because it sure doesn't make any sense to me. The economy changes, prices change, your needs change, but your cost of living adjustment is based on ancient history. Let me give you some real numbers so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If you're getting the average Social Security retirement benefit of about $1,907 per month, that 2.8% increase gave you an extra $53 and some change. Sounds okay, right? Well, hold on. Then Medicare Part B went up by about $10 per month. So right off the top, before you even see that money, $10 of your $53 raise is gone. Your net increase is around $43. Now, here's the kicker. If your actual costs went up by just 5%, which is conservative, you needed an extra $95 per month just to stay even, just to maintain the exact same standard of living you had before. You got $43 after the Medicare increase. You needed $95. That's a $52 per month shortfall. That's over $600 a year that you're falling behind. Every single year, you fall further and further behind, and the gap keeps growing. See the problem now? This isn't some theoretical economics discussion. This is your life. This is your ability to eat, to keep the lights on, to stay healthy. Here's why the December inflation report coming out on January 13th is so critically important and why you need to pay attention to it. December is typically one of the more inflationary months of the year because of holiday shopping and increased demand. Think about it for a second. In November and December, demand for goods and services shoots way up. Everyone's buying gifts. People are hosting dinners. Families are traveling for the holidays. Businesses are ordering more inventory. More demand drives prices higher. It's just basic economics, supply and demand. So when we get this December CPI report on January 13th, we're likely going to see elevated inflation numbers. And that's going to show us even more clearly, even more obviously, how inadequate that 2.8% cost of living adjustment really was. It's going to be right there in black and white. Undeniable proof that you're being shortchanged. The government, the Social Security Administration, has been using this same calculation method since 1975. Think about that. Almost 50 years of using outdated data to determine how much you need to live on. Almost 50 years of the same broken system. And they wonder why seniors and disabled people are struggling. They wonder why poverty rates among the elderly are rising. They wonder why people who worked their whole lives are ending up homeless or hungry in their golden years. It's because the system is fundamentally broken. Now, I know some of you have heard Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and other economists talk about one-time price adjustments and how inflation is transitory. They've been saying this stuff for years now. Don't worry, inflation is temporary. Prices will come back down. This is just a short-term adjustment. But here's the reality that you're living, and I want you to trust what you see with your own eyes. Those price adjustments haven't stopped. Prices keep going up. They don't come back down. When gas goes from $2 a gallon to $4 a gallon, it might drop to $3.50, but it never goes back to $2. When eggs go from $2 a dozen to $6 a dozen, they might drop to $4, but you never see $2 again. We're still seeing the impacts of tariffs, supply chain issues, labor shortages, and everything else, and we haven't even seen the full impact yet. There's more inflation coming down the pipeline. Policy decisions being made right now are going to drive more inflation in 2026 and beyond. So when they tell you that 2.8% is enough, or that inflation is under control, or that this is all temporary, I want you to remember what you're actually seeing with your own eyes at the grocery store, at the gas pump, on your rent bill, on your insurance statements. You're not imagining it. You're not crazy. You're not bad at budgeting. You're not doing something wrong. The system is failing you, plain and simple. Let me give you some context that might help make sense of all this, even though it's still incredibly frustrating. The Social Security Administration has been using this third quarter calculation method since 1975. Here's how it works. They take the average inflation from July, August, and September of one year, compare it to the same 3 months from the previous year, and that's your cost of living adjustment for the next year. The problem is glaringly obvious when you think about the timeline. By the time you're actually getting that cost of living adjustment in your January check, the data they use to calculate it is 15 to 18 months old. The economy has changed, prices have changed, your needs have changed, but your cost of living adjustment is based on ancient history. It's like trying to drive a car by looking in the rearview mirror. You're reacting to where you were, not where you are or where you're going. Will they change this system? Maybe someday. There have been proposals, there have been bills introduced, but nothing ever passes. The political will isn't there. The powerful interests that benefit from keeping things the way they are make sure nothing changes. So I'm not holding my breath. And in the meantime, we need to deal with the reality we've got, not the reality we wish we had. Okay, so what can you actually do with this information? Because I'm not just here to make you angry or depressed. I'm here to give you actionable steps you can take right now to protect yourself and your family. Here are 3 things you can start doing immediately. Step 1, track your actual expenses. I know this sounds really basic, almost too simple, but I cannot stress enough how important this is. Get a notebook, open a spreadsheet, use an app on your phone, whatever works for you. Write down what you're really spending on groceries every month. Track your utilities, track your medication costs, track your rent or mortgage, track your insurance, track everything. When you have those numbers in front of you in black and white, you can see exactly how much you're falling behind. You'll have concrete data, and you can use that information to plan better, to budget more effectively, to know what kind of additional help you need to seek out. You can't fix a problem you can't measure. Step 2, apply for every single benefit you qualify for. I mean, every single one. Go to benefits.gov right now, today, as soon as this video is over. Go through the screening tool and see what programs you're eligible for. SNAP for food assistance. LIHEAP for heating and cooling bills. Medicare savings programs to help with health care costs. Prescription assistance programs through pharmaceutical companies. State programs, local programs, nonprofit programs. There are resources out there, but nobody's going to hand them to you automatically. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, hey, we noticed you're struggling. Here's some help. You have to apply. You have to do the paperwork. You have to advocate for yourself. And I know it's exhausting. I know the applications are complicated. I know it feels demoralizing to have to ask for help when you worked your whole life. But these programs exist for a reason. Use them. There's no shame in getting help you're entitled to. Step 3, stay informed and stay engaged. When that December CPI report comes out on January 13th, pay attention to it. Read the news coverage. Watch what the actual inflation numbers are. Compare them to what you got in your cost of living adjustment. Use that information to advocate for yourself. Write to your representatives. Call their offices. Tell them your story. Talk to your friends and neighbors about what's happening. Use social media. Join advocacy groups. The more people understand how broken this system is, the more pressure there is to fix it. Change happens when enough people demand it, and you have more power than you think you do. Your voice matters, your vote matters, your story matters. And if you need help navigating any of this, understanding the programs, filling out the applications, figuring out what you're eligible for, that's exactly what I'm here for. That's why I make these videos. I have videos on SNAP applications, on finding free phones through the Lifeline program, on utility assistance, on housing help, all of it. Check the description below this video. Browse through my video library. Everything is free. Everything is designed to help you survive and thrive on a limited income. Listen, I know this video wasn't full of good news and sunshine. I know I didn't sugarcoat anything. The truth is the cost of living adjustment system is broken. It's been broken for decades. You're getting raises based on old information while living with current prices. And that 2.8% increase isn't cutting it when real inflation is double that or more. But here's what I want you to remember, and this is important. You're not alone in this. You might feel alone. You might feel like you're the only one struggling, the only one who can't make ends meet, but you're not. Millions of people are in the exact same situation. 72 million Americans got that same inadequate raise. 72 million people are facing the same impossible choices you're facing. And being aware of how the system works, even when it's working against you, gives you power. Knowledge is power. Understanding is power. When you know how they calculate your benefits, when you know what the real inflation numbers are, when you know what resources are available, you can plan better. You can advocate better. You can find the resources you need to survive and even thrive despite a broken system. That's what this entire channel is all about. Giving you real information, not sugar-coated nonsense, not false hope, not empty promises, real talk about real problems with real solutions, showing you the resources that exist, the programs you can access, the strategies you can use, and building a community of people who understand what you're going through because they're going through it too. You're not alone. We're in this together. If this video helped you understand what's really happening with Social Security and inflation, if it opened your eyes to how the system works, hit that subscribe button right now. I post new videos every single week on benefits, financial assistance programs, and real talk about surviving on a low income. This is what I do. This is my passion. And I'm not going anywhere. Leave a comment below and let me know how that 2.8% cost of living adjustment is working out for you. Are you falling behind? What expenses are hitting you the hardest? Is it groceries? Is it rent? Is it medications? Is it utilities? I read every single comment. Your stories matter to me, and your experiences help me create content that actually addresses the real issues you're facing, not some theoretical problems that don't exist in the real world. And check out my video library. I've got over 170 videos covering every benefit program I can find, every assistance option available, every survival strategy I can think of. It's all there. It's all free. Use it. Stay warm out there, friends. Take care of yourselves and each other. Happy New Year. And remember, we're in this together. Every single day, every single struggle. You're not alone, and I've got your back. I'll see you on the next video.